Hey guys, welcome to our Monday lower mobility session. Today we don't have a specific focus like we did last week with the hips, but what we are going to be doing is using our rollers to ease into the muscle a little bit before we start to stretch them out and mobilize them a little bit more. So looking at glutes, quads, hamstrings, anything lower basically today. So the only thing you need for this is your roller. I do have a mat as well, that's just preference. You can have a mat if you like. But what we'll do before we jump on the roller, we're just going to start in a cross-leg position. Just to arrive into the session, I guess, before we start massaging out muscles. But so cross leg, doesn't matter which leg we're going in front with to start with, but we're just going to drop the chin towards the chest. Shoulders here, just think about shrugging them up and then rolling them down the back so they're nice and dropped. Before we take the chin over, we're just going to hold this for a few seconds. And then we're going to come up, and what we'll do from here is take the hands forward, walk them out, and just have a relax over, so a nice stretch through the lower back and the hips. Just as far as you can, or as far as you want to for now, that's fine. Hold this for a few seconds. And then we're going to come up. Awesome. What we'll do is now swap the feet over. So whichever foot you have in front, we're going to swap. Might feel a bit strange. And again, think about shoulders coming up and then down the back, and drop the chin towards the chest. Relaxing here. And then after a few seconds, we're just going to take the hands forward and then come over into a nice stretch position. Cool. Coming up. Hand over to the side, dropping the elbow. We usually do the side stretch, it's quite nice. And then arm up and over. Again, just a moment here. Keep the sit bones on the floor. And then we'll come up and swap. So the other side, hand goes on the floor, elbow comes down, taking the arm up and over. Nice stretch through the side before we start rolling around. Good. Okay, so grabbing our roller, we will start with the glutes today. So we'll pop this one on the floor behind us, and what we'll do is sit up onto the roller, but we're going to be slightly twisted so that we're accessing one glute, so one side, rather than having both on at the same time. And whichever one you're rolling out, take that leg up and on the knee, and just roll up and down just a few times. And if there's any points on there that feel like they need a little bit more attention, then that's fine. You can kind of stop on those points or massage over them with a little bit more focus. But if not, you can just enjoy rolling up and down on that one side. Okay, we'll go the other side. So we're going to release that leg. We'll swap over so that we're now accessing the glute on the other side, twisting the body, and then the same leg that we are massaging comes up and onto the top of the knee. And you can use the foot that's planted on the floor here and the hands to guide the movement up and over the roller. And again, any points that you feel like are a bit tender or lumpy, or I don't know, feel like they just need a bit more attention, then you can give them that. That is fine. Good. Releasing that leg. We're going to now do lower back. So we've just done glutes. We're just going to move up to this muscle group here. Again, we'll do the same thing like we did on the glutes. So if you are, rather than rolling the lower back square on, which you can do also in birth, it feels nice. It's not to say you can't, but we're just going to twist our bodies over, lean over to one side. So again, we're accessing one side at a time, okay? If this is fine with your arm on the floor and your feet planted, rolling up and down, it feels nice and you want to go a bit further, we can take both hands off. Again, we can hold on to ourselves here. It's a little bit too much for me there, but it is an option if you really, really want to get in there and put some pressure on. Whew. Okay, other side. So same thing, placing the roller behind. I'm just going to ease ourselves on, slight twist so that you're getting the other side of the lower back, and then just using the planted feet and the arm to roll yourself up and down. And enjoy. Again, any bits that feel like they need a bit more attention, then you can give them that attention, that is fine. Great, just a few times. And then we're going to move around, so we've done glutes, done lower back, we're going to move around to the front and do quads. We're going to roll out the sort of free areas on the quads. We'll roll down the front and then we'll go side and then on the inside as well for adductors and things. So if I show you this side first, what we'll want to do is get the front of that big old muscle or group of muscles. So in order to do that, using my head, I'm going to move back a bit. We'll take one knee out to the side. This is going to be your support and stability as well as your hands, which will allow you a nice range of movement up and down whilst you're rolling so that you don't get stuck anywhere. And again, there might be bits in here, especially towards the knees if you're doing a bit more squatting. Don't actually roll over the knees, but towards the knees might feel a bit tender and you might want to just hang around there for a little bit longer. So once you've done that, again, we're going to twist the whole body. So we'll come up onto the foot here on this side to go up and down the side of the leg now. And again, it's a big three-dimensional muscle, so you can twist and rotate to get different areas, particularly if they're feeling a bit sore or in need. Good. Knee comes down to the floor. This is the one that's a little bit funny. I'm just going to swap legs so you can see what's happening. So we want to get the inside now, accessing the adductors. So we'll pop the leg on, and then we're just going to lie down onto the roller. So again, we have to twist the body slightly and adjust yourself into a position where that back leg is rooted, but as you're twisting your body, you're kind of allowing a good range of motion to be rolling in. And again, you might feel some parts specifically, maybe towards the knees. I know mine are, where it feels a bit more tender, and you can hang around there for a little bit. Cool, we'll move on. So that's one side. We'll come off. We'll do exactly the same thing on the other side. So getting your roller into position. We're doing the front of the quad first. So we'll come onto the hands, onto the knee, and then just rolling up and down a few times. Again, if you want some more time on any of this stuff, you can always pause or do some more of it later on after the video. Then we're going to come up onto the foot, twist over so that we are moving up and down the side. Ouch. And then rotating ourselves around to get to that inner thigh also. So you might have to play around with a few positions to be able to get into the right places, but you'll find it. Cool, and we're working just on the inner thigh at the moment. And this is our last roll for now. Excellent. We'll just pop that one over to the side. So glutes, lower back, quads, just to ease them, or massage them a little bit before we now start to stretch and mobilize them out. Okay, so first one we're going to start off with is just simply pike stretch. So we'll take a seat, legs out in front. We want to keep the knees on the top and then the toes facing up towards the ceiling. If this is enough of a stretch for you, that's absolutely fine. If you want to take it forward, we can start with a slightly bent knee before we stretch over that way. So even if you can straighten out your legs, it might be quite nice just to start here, especially if you're feeling particularly tight today. So coming over, curling over the legs, knees are bent. But if you are quite happy to, then we can take the legs out to being straight. And we're just going to hang over here for a few seconds. Whew. Don't forget to breathe in any of these stretches. Cool, and then we're just going to pump up. We'll keep one leg out nice and long. We're going to bring the other foot in. We've done this one before, but we'll bring the leg we've brought in, the foot comes up and over. And then we're going to twist into, so we'll take an elbow around the knee so that we can hug it right in, and then just twist towards it. And we can take our eyesight behind us just to increase the twist more. So looking behind and holding this for a few seconds. Good, and we're going to release that. Leg goes back down on the floor, and then we're going to do the other side. So bring the other leg up, put it over the top, hug it in, twist towards, try and keep the chest nice and open and the back straight. And then you can take the focus behind you just to increase the stretch. Ooh. Good, hold this for a few seconds, and then we'll release that twist, release the leg around. Okay, so we'll move into a straddle stretch next. And there's a few ways that you can do this. I'll give you a few options and then you can work with whichever one that you like. We've got straddle stretch just on the floor. So making a V with the legs, keep the knees on the top and the toes facing up towards the ceiling, so as the legs don't kind of roll in this way, and we've got knees leaning in. We want to try and keep the legs in a position where they're aligned and the knees are up. If you've got access to a kettlebell or some form of weight, you might want to pop that in front middle so that you can hold on and then use that to sort of pull you in to increase the stretch. If you haven't, you can just stretch here. What we'll do is keep a nice flat back for now, so it might mean that we don't curl all the way over and get our head to the floor. Already my feet are rolling in here, but keep a nice flat back, big chest, find the floor with the hands, and then just walk forward to a place where you can keep the legs straight and the back straight also. Okay. Cool. And then from here, whatever position you are in, you're going to tense the legs. So squeeze the legs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release. Relax and see if we can go a little bit further. And we'll do the same thing. So squeezing the legs, tense, tense, tense. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then release. Well done. And if you can go a bit further, then do. If not, don't worry, but just double check your knees aren't rolling in like mine. So I'm just going to come back up a little bit. And again, we'll squeeze legs, squeeze as hard as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Lovely. Walk the hands in to come up, and then bring the knees together. Another nice variation of that is if you've got access to a plain sort of wall where you can get into this position. You can get your sit bones to the wall. I mean, I've got a radiator here, so it's not exactly ideal, but we start in this pike position on the wall and then opening the legs out to a V. You can allow gravity just to let you hang out here for a bit, or we can do the squeezing and then the releasing. So squeezing the legs, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze as much as you can for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we release and just allow gravity to kind of take the legs. So that's another option if you want to have a play with that. Either now you can pause or have a go later. Once you've done this one, just be gentle with yourself, coming back to a neutral position. Can feel quite challenging. Okay, we're going to stick with the wall because we're going to go into stretching out the quads now through couch stretch. One of my favourites, I think. Now, just a note on this one before we go in, because the positioning, we want to try and get the knee as close to the wall as we can, which means, like for me, I've got dancer's feet, so my foot actually moves or stretches in a way that can allow that. But if your foot doesn't do that, and you find that you can't get your knee close to the wall because it doesn't go much further than this, then please pop your foot on a chair or a bench or the sofa or something that you can hook it onto to get the knee close to bring this other one up, if that makes any sense at all. Don't have a chair to show you, I'm afraid, but get creative, use your imagination, fine. So whichever one you're going with first, knee goes against the wall, get it close, get it in there as much as you can. Use the hands to support yourself for now. We're going to get that other foot up so that it's flat on the floor. And then having a PVC pipe or something to hold on to here if you're struggling is also quite nice. But get hands up onto the knee. Think about squaring off the hips. So just be careful of this kind of thing happening where you've got a tilt in the hips. Bring them nice and square. Foot is planted. Using the hands on the leg just for now, and breathe for a few seconds. Couch stretch. We're going to intensify this a little bit. So we take the hands up and over the top of the head. You can clasp them together. Straighten the arms up. So we're getting a nice stretch through the side and front of the body here now. 2, keep the hips square and squeeze the glutes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And again, we can play with the tension on, tense, 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 and then the release, if you would like to. And then we're just going to take the hands down, pop them on the inside of that foot that's planted. And before we come out, we're going to drop the hips down towards the floor, here, keeping that other foot against the wall. So similar to our lunge stretch, which we are going to do in a second as well. So dropping the hips, keeping the chest proud. Good, and then release the whole position. We're going to go same thing on the other side. So getting the other knee up against the wall, keeping the hands on the floor so we're nice and stable. Foot comes up, just ease yourself into it, be kind. Coming up, holding on to the supporting leg if you need to at the moment. Hips square. And just enjoying, if you can, the stretch as it is for a minute before we then take the hands up and overhead. Cool. So here we go. Hands go up and overhead. You can clasp the hands together if you need to or want to. Big stretch up. Keep those hips square. Squeeze the glutes. Play with that tension on and then releasing, just like what we did in our straddle. And then we're going to release the hands down, pop them on the floor, and drop the pelvis low as you can go. Awesome. And then we're going to relax there. Coming out of that. So, working the same muscle groups, but this time we're going to work through the movement a little bit more, so they're less static stretching and more mobilizing. We'll come through a plank position. That core engaged, suck your belly button in, squeeze the glutes, hold this for a few seconds. Then we're going to take one foot up, bring the knee in, and take it up towards the hands. Get it right next to it if you can. Keep this back knee off to start with. We're going to drop the pelvis down as low as we can, opening out the chest. Imagine you've got a light on the front of your chest. We want it shining as forward as much as possible. And then from here, we're going to move. So rather than static stretching, we're going to move forward and backwards. Or we can go figure eight, side to side, whatever feels nice. But just as long as you're moving through the stretch. Cool. Again, for a few seconds. Drop this back knee down. And then, favourite stretch, the same hand as the leg that's up. The elbow drops towards the floor, doesn't matter if it doesn't get there, don't worry, just goes towards the floor. And we open and twist as much as we can towards the ceiling. We'll move nice and slowly through these. We'll go 3 to 5 times. Getting that nice open twist. And the stretch in the hips, in the legs, everywhere. Cool. Replacing the hand, we're going to take the foot that's up, back. So take this back knee off, take it back into a plank position. Readjust if you need to. And then we'll move from our plank position to the other side. So bring the foot up by the hand. Keep the back leg nice and long. Knee comes off, we drop the hips, we open out the chest, so eyes forward, and we move around, forward and back, side to side, figure eight, write your name, whatever. Draw a picture, as long as you're moving. Good. Once you've signed your whole name, we're going to drop the back knee, drop the same elbow towards the floor, open up and twist towards the ceiling. Good. Keep trying to draw those hips nice and low, as close to the floor as you can get them. Again, we'll move through this 3 to 5 times, or as many as you like, I suppose. Before we replace the hand, take the back knee off, and then move this front leg back into our plank position. Awesome. Also one of my favourite stretches, pigeon. So now for our plank position, we're going to draw one knee up towards the belly button and then pop the side leg on the floor. And here we want to bring the hips so that they're square rather than be sort of tilted over to one side here. So a couple of options as well. Keep this, the heel that is on the side that we're stretching, either bring it in towards the hips, nice and close, or if you can or want to, then you take the foot a bit further away to create a bit more space here. But again, options are options, and it's up to you where this stretches today. So just settling into pigeon, keeping the hips square. And then we're going to drop down onto the forearms for a few seconds before we then come back up. And we get to work on our 3 points. So belly button. We're going to move the hands around to the side so that belly button is facing the knee, or as much as it can get that way, and drop down towards the knee, come back to the center. We drop the belly button down towards the shin. We move around to the side, we drop the belly button down towards the foot. And we work through those 3 points. Again, keep the chest up as much as you can so that you're not sort of rounded over doing this. And again, if you don't get all the way down, that's okay, it's just the intention. Once you get to one side, we're then going to sweep through all 3 to come up. So we go towards one side, sweep through, stay low, 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 and then come up to the other side. And again, we'll sweep through a few times. Before we then come back to the center. Use the hands to come up, release this leg underneath us onto all 4s, and we'll go other side. So bring the knee in towards the belly button, place the foot on the floor, and take that back leg back nice and straight. And again, adjust yourself so that your heel is either in towards your hips or a bit further away, the hips are square. And then we just settle into that pigeon stretch on the other side. A few seconds here before we then lower down onto the forearms just to intensify the stretch further. And then we come back up, working for our 3 points. So twisting over, belly button towards the foot, shin and knee, or knee, shin and foot, depending on which way you went first. Good. Remember keeping the chest up so that we're not hunching over. Good. And once we return to one side, we'll take the sweep. So we go down, belly button towards whichever side you're at. We stay low and then we come up on the other side. Good. Well done. Cool. Stopping wherever you are now. Replace the hands. Take the foot out from underneath you. Come onto all 4s. We're going to tuck the toes under and we're going to roll over the feet and back into a nice squat position. So here, adjust the feet to wherever they need to be, but we want them to be flat on the floor. Okay, knees tracking the toes, and we're just going to hang around down here for a bit. So you can take a little wiggle side to side. Elbows are going to dig into the inside of the knee. We can use the hands here to push together and push them out, out, out. Opening up the chest as much as you can. Again, moving around in this bottom position, easing yourself in. But the elbows are here to keep the knees wide so that we're not collapsing in on ourselves. We take the fingertips down to the floor. We're going to drop the elbows again. Don't worry if they don't get to the floor, but we're going to just hunch over into a stretch. Nice one on the lower back. Drop the head. Try and keep the feet on the floor best as you can. And again, if you want to take a small side-to-side movement down here, then you can. Good. Stay there. We're going to come back up. Plant one foot next to one hand next to the foot. This arm is going to stay nice and straight, and you can even push the elbow into the knee here again to to push it out. And the other arm's going to open and rotate towards the ceiling. And we'll do that each side. So once it comes back down, we'll replace the other hand on the floor next to the knee and open and twist. And what we want this planted hand to do is almost be a barrier for the knee coming in. So as we open and twist, we don't want to be twisting the knee in here. That hand is planted on the floor so that it forces the knee to stay out. Ooh. Well done. Too much chatting. Come on. Okay, release that, come back onto all fours. We're going to take the knees out wide and then the feet together behind us so that our lower limbs are in a kind of a V shape. Hands go out and we push the hips back towards the feet so that we're sort of opening out, chest to the floor. And just stretching here for a few seconds. Good. We're going to come back out. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, knees in under the hips, and then the feet away from each other. We'll come onto all fours. We'll do some cat-cow. So send the spine up towards the ceiling, really curl over as much as you can. Enjoy the stretch. And then we're going to bring it down, belly button towards the floor, opening out the chest. Again, imagining that light on the front of the chest shining forward. And then pushing back up. So we'll just move from one to the other as fast or as slow as you like. And if you want to, when you're in these positions, you can also take some side to side or even some circles. So it's not just straight up and down. Depends what feels nice, really. Whew. Good, okay, so one more, out to plank position. We're going to send the hips up towards the ceiling into sort of a yoga downward dog, but we won't stay static here. We're just going to tread through the feet so that we get a nice stretch through the calves here. But also doubling up on the upper body too. Good. A few more seconds, just treading through the feet. Cool, and then releasing back down to the knees. Ooh, come back to a seat position, anyone that you like. Awesome, there we go. A lower sort of stretch mobilization, a little bit of rolling. More stretching today than anything else, but again, if you're using any of those things pre-training, just make sure you're moving through them rather than holding static stretches so much. But hopefully that's helpful and that you've enjoyed it. What I'll do in the week is release another one for more upper. Last week we had thoracic, so we'll recap on some of those things and maybe have a slightly different focus too. So enjoy, thank you.